Hello.
And welcome to We're Not Blowing Hot Air, powered by Oxygen Plus. I'm Scott,
And I'm Lauren.
and we're here to help elevate your IQ on wellness and business stuff that's sometimes misunderstood.
Oh, like recreational oxygen?
Yes.
Let's get smarter with this week's guest of We're Not Blowing Hot Air. All right, Scott.
Here we are in our sports gear.
We're looking pretty snazzy and representing some various college and pro sports around here.
Right.
I'm wearing my alma mater,
Yeah,
couple
I see
pieces
that.
of that.
I see
And
that.
I mean, I didn't play in college or anything, but did you ever play sports?
Yeah, I played basketball when I was a kid. I played, I started in like second grade, I think, when I was in second grade, and I played through eighth grade.
Were you any good?
I was okay. I was better at defense, I think, than I was at offense,
I was not good. I played basketball before high school, and I scored one goal the entire season. People
Really?
thought because I was tall, I'd be good, but I was more of a ballet dancer. I played hockey 2 seasons in high school.
Okay.
But I mean, were you good enough to get recruited playing basketball?
Oh, no.
No.
No, that's for sure.
Okay, let me ask you this. At recess, were you picked like one of the first few picks in a sport?
Yeah, I mean, I was usually at recess, basketball and soccer too. That was one that
Yeah?
I played at
And
recess.
you weren't the
Yeah.
last one picked.
I wasn't the last one picked. No.
I was the last one picked. I used to play football in my Montessori days, which was like K through 12, but K through 8. But we only played football with the boys in the back lot, like from when I was in junior high. And I was one of 4 girls. So all the rest were guys, and I was usually the last or the second to last one picked. And of course, they would pick the girls last because it was a very sexist time.
Yes, that's true.
Sure, that doesn't happen now.
Right.
So, but it feels good to get picked, right? It feels good to get recruited.
Sure, it does.
Which is what we're going to be dealing with today.
Yeah.
Talking
right.
about athletes who are in high demand and companies who want these athletes, and how now, with the amazing guests we have coming up, how it's more possible.
Yeah, right. If you were going to play a professional sport today, what would it be?
And I was great at it.
Yeah.
And it's in pro and not like Olympics.
Pro.
Well, I'd definitely be a golfer. I mean, that would be it. Easy. It's the easiest sport.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
How about you?
If I could play a pro sport, that's a tough call for me because I think as far as pro sports go, like football is kind of the thing. I don't know that I would want to be a football player though. I think it would be basketball. I think I'd be an NBA player.
Well, I feel like you could be a quarterback and then you're in a different sort of mindset.
That's true.
I could see you as a quarterback, not really like another like running back or
maybe a quarterback. Because I don't want to get hurt. So quarterback is probably my position.
I think that's good for us. I think if this podcast doesn't work out, let's just hire a coach and get recruited.
Totally.
That would
pro
work.
Sports.
That would work. Have you ever heard maybe you know this being, from Minnesota, have you ever heard about what happened with the former Packers quarterback, Brett Favre, who then went to play for the Minnesota Vikings? Did you hear this story? Do you know this?
What's the story? Tell me the story.
Well, basically the coach or somebody in management, right, didn't play him or didn't they kind of allowed maybe for him to get hurt against another team.
I vaguely remember that.
I just heard about it and that really broke my heart. And apparently that was the only real chance that Minnesota Vikings had at least until current to really win some Super Bowl ring.
Yeah. There was a lot of excitement around that, I think.
Yeah.
with Favre, and yeah, having a real shot. I think Minnesota Vikings fans, are we get unfortunately let down. We get excited at different points, and we get let down. And it's not to say anything bad about the team. It's just we've come so close sometimes, and when those times are few and far between, like you really get excited, and then it's recovery for the next, how many ever months.
Yeah, well, and I'm as I'm leaning more into liking sports, like
Mhm.
pro sports, that is, I find that like the business decisions behind it, like knowing that, okay, the coach or the general manager has these decisions and the calls that they make really affect what happens on the field and
Yeah.
who wins and who takes home
Mhm.
whatever, like Stanley Cup or the Super Bowl ring, like whatever it is, like so much of it is business.
Yeah.
Like sports is business.
It is. Yeah, people forget that. I mean, pro sports is a business like anything else.
Yeah.
Yes, they're playing a game, but it is a business.
And that's for me, like, why I'm starting to like it, right? Like, because
Mhm.
I like business. So,
Yeah.
and it also speaks to why one would become a fan. So some fans really enjoy just the community, that sort of engagement with like time, how to spend your time.
Mhm.
And other fans are like kind of, I guess, me, who like, all right, what was the strategy behind picking those players? And that's what's fun. And that's also what I think is really fun about our next guest.
Yeah.
Get ready to become a fan of what's next on We're Not Blowing Hot Air. On episode 8 of We're Not Blowing Hot Air, we broadcast game-changing sports news with Jason Bergman, CEO and co-founder of Market Price, a burgeoning sports marketing company whose marketplace connects athletes and companies, kind of like dating apps, but it doesn't leave you wanting and nobody gets catfished. Improving on the high-priced, ultra-exclusive Jerry Maguire kind of agency, Jason and his team connect companies with influential athletes on demand. With an innovative strategy and attractive value proposition, Market Price is a hot new player in sports marketing. Learn how thousands of college and pro athletes from all the big sports are hooking up with all kinds of brands with ease and satisfaction, the way hooking up online should be. Here are the plays this Forbes Next 1000 entrepreneur made to secure his first round of funding and be the first to know about Market Price's new game changer that's a win for college athletes, businesses, universities, and fans. All on this episode of We're Not Blowing Hot Air. Jason Bergman of Market
What's up, guys?
Price.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm so excited to talk to you guys, and I'm happy that we're doing this. Feel so underprepared. You guys have like the coolest mics and headphones and gear and everything. So I hope I can live up to you guys on expectations. But you may need to carry me if that's cool.
You're already meeting all of our needs and expectations. Am I right, Scott?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I
Yes.
mean, you have your own branded t-shirt of Market Price on, so that's looking fantastic. We
Oh, man.
stepped up to the plate. I'm going to use as many sport puns as possible during this episode. Normally they bug me, but I'm going to try to slide them in.
Wow. It's gonna get interesting, folks.
It's gonna get real funny real fast. I'm excited.
I mean, we wanted to bring you our best because that's what you bring every day that you showed up to your new company that we're so excited to dive into. It's already really bad. Okay.
It's already bad.
I'll cool it. I'll cool it. But so yeah, share about you, Jason. What is your personal background in sports and what got you into sports marketing or representing athletes?
Yeah, of course. And again, I just wanted to say thank you guys for having me. I'm so excited, and I'm sure we'll get into it. But I've been loving working with you guys just for the last few months too. So I'm really excited to share some background. But for me, I just try to wake up every morning, step to the plate, hit a home run every single day. So I just wanted to get my sports pun out of there really quickly. But no, my background, I've always been like such a huge sports nerd, and I've been such a big sports fan, and you know. Being the CEO of a sports company was something that I never really could have imagined. I just always wanted to work in sports. I thought it was really cool. And I'm a big person where if you do something that you're really passionate about, you're never really going to work in your life because you love it. So I always had that inkling, like, let me just try to work in sports. I started my career in sales after graduating college. So Yelp was my first job. I'm sure you guys have used Yelp before, where I was calling like local businesses selling advertisements. Yeah, it was really hard when you're 22 talking to like someone in their 50s who owns an auto repair shop who's been in business longer than you've been alive. The coolest
Yeah.
thing from that was like, if you can sell them on Yelp ads and get money when you're that young, everything else that you sell for the rest of your career is a little bit easier. So it helped me get hopefully pretty good at sales working at Yelp and other roles after that. And I got into sports working at a company called Open Sponsorship, where I was the first sales hire when I was like 24. And I went from selling businesses, literally going back to Yelp.com, typing in car dealerships in New York, selling them on memberships, all the way to selling over the course of 3 years there to Anheuser-Busch, CBS Sports, DraftKings, Vitamin Shop, and some enterprise companies on working with athletes.
Wow.
And working there, like, long story short, I just saw the need for a company like a Marketprice, where it's a two-sided marketplace where brands and athletes could intersect and actually meet and come together for awesome deals. But our business model, I knew it had to be athletes and agents pay monthly memberships. So I think the best businesses are started from like fixing a need and fixing a problem that you personally experience. So I couldn't just snap my fingers and be a professional athlete and try to test how hard it is to get deals. I started my own sports marketing agency, and I literally, like, I say agency, I made an Instagram account and I DM'd probably like 2,000 professional athletes. And I'm like, look, I'd love to be able to bring you marketing deals. Just say yes or no. And we'd be able to work on deals together. And I got 12 people to say yes, which, like, the response rate is pretty, not great, but it was more than zero. So I was able to like test out being an agent and see how hard it was to be an agent, and to see if I would pay for a service like a Marketprice that helps me find more deals. And the resounding answer was yes, absolutely. It's so hard to find the right person at a company at the right time that they're actually interested in doing marketing when they want to work with athletes. That's a good fit for your athletes. So I compare it a lot to like a dating app, because I'm married. I've never really used a dating app. A lot of my friends still do. It's really hard to find someone who is open to dating, who's into you right now, right? And that's what we really help athletes with. So wrapping it all up, we launched in January of this year. So we're wrapping up like our 10th month now. We've just surpassed over like 3,000 deals on the site, closed between over 1,600 athletes and over 400 companies. And again, back to the start, I'm a huge sports nerd. So being able to talk sports and be passionate about athlete marketing all day is like a dream come true. And, we're just getting started. But I know that was really long-winded. So
No, not at all. It's so informative and very cool, that progression of things, going from Yelp and then going into something like Marketprice and working with athletes and stuff like that. So maybe let's like break down. Maybe you can just kind of like recap again, the business model for Marketprice, and then talk about like, the value propositions that it brings to brands and athletes.
yeah, absolutely. So our business model, we make most of our revenue from athletes and agents paying us a monthly membership. So it could be as low as $8 a month for student athletes, who I know we're on a pretty tight budget, up to $400 a month to bigger agencies that represent a lot of different athletes. So they pay us a monthly membership, sort of like you pay Netflix a monthly membership to get access to all their shows. Athletes and agents pay us a monthly membership to get access to all of our companies. So they get to see anything from Oxygen Plus to Allbirds Shoes to Fashion Nova to CBS Sports. They're able to see companies who have signed up to Marketprice because they want to work with athletes today. So it's the right person at a cool company that's been vetted by us that wants to work with athletes. So that's where most of our revenue come from. We also charge a 5% fee on the brand side. So if you do a $100 deal, let's say, we would charge the brand $105. We'd hold the money in escrow until a deal is completed, and we would take the $5 as like a processing fee. So that's our business model right now.
That's so smart. That's so smart, Jason. And I remember at one point I asked you, well, why aren't you making the companies pay? Why is the athlete paying, right? Like, why burden them with anything that they have to shell out, which isn't typical of other athlete social marketing or influencer type partnership platforms that I've seen. So do you want to share a little bit about that? Because I loved your answer, and I think it's something that will really actually encourage the athlete and companies alike to try this out.
Oh yeah. Just to confirm, why we charge athletes the monthly membership. Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So the thing is, and we tested out like free trials, and it just didn't work because athletes didn't have enough skin in the game. Where if you're an athlete, you're like, well, yeah, maybe I'm kind of into it. Think 3 steps ahead. Where think if you're Oxygen Plus, if you're a brand, you want to find a partner who is really excited to work with you, right? They're excited about marketing deals, and I've seen firsthand, and again, working at a company like Open Sponsorship, working with a lot of businesses on a day-to-day basis, they would get into bed and do deals with athletes who didn't really care. And it ended up always being a bad deal. The athlete made really bad content. The athlete was really hard to reach. They didn't answer texts or emails because the athlete didn't really mind. They just signed up to the site because it was free. With Market Price, we're getting those red flags out of the way right away. So if they don't want to pay as low as $8 a month, then they're not really interested in doing marketing deals anyway. So the athletes on Market Price, they're literally investing in themselves by signing up to Market Price. So they're there to make money. They're there to connect with companies. They're there to build their network, which is really cool. So they're there with a purpose, which for brands who are businesses, right? I know it comes down to it. Like athletes are slowly turning into businesses, but we want to help athletes have that business mindset of like, hey, you're here, answer emails, text, be communicative, and we really help educate athletes. And we want to also, again, give them full service. Like we can get into it later, but we have a ton of add-ons that are included in the membership. We have access to account managers that help you with branding, have access to other people that help you with social strategy. We help you with financial literacy, paying taxes, investing, cash flow issues. So now that they pay us a monthly membership, they get access to all this awesome stuff, not just
Wow.
doing brand deals. So yeah, that's something that, we want to, I guess, nip the people who don't really care in the butt right away, where if they don't want to pay as low as $8 a month, then it's okay. You don't have to use Market Price, but we want, if you're there, hey, you're here with us and you're really investing in yourself.
Yeah. No, that's great. That's great. And how did you see a need for this for both companies and athletes, to kind of bridge that connection and make those connections and relationships?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I could probably talk on both sides for a while, but I think with starting on the athlete side, because we're there already, we have a lot of athletes who, I'd say the not top 1%, right? Like LeBron James, Cristiano Ronaldo, Messi, right? They don't need more deals, but everyone else does. For every one of those superstar athletes, there's a lot of smaller athletes who really want to have access to connect with cool companies. And they may not have millions of followers, but they have tens of thousands, hundreds of people who look up to them and trust athletes. So for those athletes, how do they connect with companies? How do they actually make money from their name and their image, their likeness? The access is the hardest part. And again, I always go back to dating apps because I'm talking to athletes all day long, where it's like, if you really want to go on a date and if you're an awesome bachelor, what do you want to do? Like walk into bars and just try to randomly meet people? That is so hard. Go on an app and swipe right on people that are also interested in what you're interested in too. So that 0 to 1 is the hardest part for athletes, of just even seeing what's out there and having access to it. So I'm really bullish on that. Every athlete is able to help companies, and they have their own value for that. So the access part is what we really help out with the athletes side. And then for the brand side too, it's like, and you guys for Oxygen Plus, like it's about building trust with your users. It's about building that awareness and getting your name out there. So why not partner with an athlete where they're running, they're swimming, they're training outside, where they actually could use a product like Oxygen Plus, even just waking up in the morning, right? And using it to improve their lifestyle and improve their training. If an athlete is using it, maybe someone hasn't heard of Oxygen Plus, but they've heard of an athlete, or they've heard of the NFL, they've heard of the NBA, and they know those athletes are associated with those leagues. So it's about building trust and familiarity, making it more familiar.
Yeah, knowing it. Yeah,
you guys get it, right?
Getting in touch.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can say that word. But it's basically just building trust with users and getting your name out there. And that's something that is really important. And especially athletes over, let's say, an influencer. Influencers, is their first job to create content and promote brands. That's how they get paid, right? That's where they make money. So again, they're really good at it a lot of the times, but how authentic can that be? With athletes, their first job is to play their sport. It's to practice. It's to compete in games. Their second job is promoting companies, right? If they want to do that. So if they're using a product, it means they're really interested in it, right? It means they're really excited about it. So hopefully for brands, like you guys, I know you've been on Market Price for a while, like take advantage of that and get product into athletes' hands and just say, hey, try it. If you like it, let's be able to start a conversation, because we know our product is awesome. It's just about building that awareness. So
it's a win-win, right? For the brand and for the athlete. So
exactly.
we love that. We have experienced it, and we just started, but Jason, so have you. I mean, your launch, you just launched Market Price. Is this correct? January of 2021?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God. And you
Yeah.
have you said you had 4,000 brands and 16,000 athletes. Did I hear that right?
Maybe remove a zero.
Oh,
1,600 athletes is 400
1,600. Okay,
brands. Yeah.
still, that's a
Yeah.
lot of people who
That's
play
a lot.
sports.
We'll check back next year, Lauren, and those numbers will be accurate.
Well,
How about that?
it's still
Yeah.
mind-blowing.
Yeah. Thank you.
And it's a testament to you and I think the platform and the concept of the business model that you've proven. But can you share some, like, if you're allowed to, and some great matches that have already happened between brands and athletes?
Yeah, absolutely. I like tend I'm like a super sentimental person, I guess. I don't know if that's the right way to put it, but like I love the smaller athletes that wouldn't have had access to these deals if it wasn't for market price. And there's one story that happened a couple weeks ago. And it was really cool because it's this athlete, Troy Burrows, and he's like a D3 athlete. And that's like the lowest, I guess, division in the NCAA. And he has maybe a couple thousand followers. And by no means brands are reaching out to him trying to get deals. And he hadn't done any deals up to this point, and he signed up to Market Price. And he's like, I love fashion. I'm all about fashion. I love to work with fashion companies. So we're like, great, cool. Yeah, we definitely have, fashion companies available on Market Price. He signs up. In his first 3 days, he closes a deal with this company, Allbirds, the awesome shoes company that now has clothing coming out. And he got like hundreds of dollars worth of shoes and clothes and everything. And in 3 days, like 72 hours.
Yeah.
And then 4 days after that, so in his first week, he closed another deal with this company called Craft in London, and it's like pendants and like cool necklaces, and it was just product deals. But I find it so cool because it's like this athlete, one is like, oh my God, I get to do deals and brands are valuing me. And then for companies, he's wearing those clothes all the time. Who does he hang out with? Other
Yeah.
athletes on the team in the college market, right? Like there's hundreds, if not thousands of athletes that go to his school that he sees every single day where they're now getting that awareness for free product, and he's wearing it all the time and posting about it on social media. And I just thought it was so cool how fast it happened too. Like it was literally within the first week. And it just cool for athletes to be able to think like, well, if I want to do deals, what am I interested in? Fashion, you get dressed every day. I hope you get dressed every day, right? Are you into fashion? If you're not, do you like protein bars? Do you like water bottles? Like, do you want green juices, tech products, shoe insoles? Like we have so many different products that athletes can take advantage of. We just started working with 5 companies just yesterday that created new campaigns, and it's like a compression company. It's vegan pancakes and waffles. It's a company that helps you with your finances, and 2 other ones I don't know off the top of my head, but like it was all 5 different industries. And if I'm an athlete, I'm like, man, I'd want to work with all of them. So it's just cool for athletes to be able to see that come to life. So that's one of my favorites.
Yeah, no, that's really cool and diverse. Like, yeah, you mentioned like the diversity of the companies that are being involved. And how many deals have you helped make since
Yeah.
you launched?
Yeah. So over 3,000 between athletes.
Ooh.
And yeah. So anything from product deals to deals it hasn't been like 6-figure deals yet, but a handful in the like 5 figures. So yeah, it's just been happening.
Wow.
That's what happens when you put athletes and brands together. They want to do deals. And in college too, with the college athletes, it's such a brand new market. That's been really hot for us as well. So there's a lot of college athletes who want to do deals and a lot of brands who want to work with college kids because it's a younger demographic. I know, like you were telling me, Lauren, like a younger demographic you want to reach out to. Now you could work with college kids and give them product and pay them to promote your product. So it's been really cool to see.
I love college kids are the best.
Yeah.
Especially this batch right now. I've met a few lately, and they're really awesome. They're like human beings again.
Yeah.
I think there were a couple generations, maybe. We were, at least our generations had challenges with communicating, but man, there's some spectacular kids out there right now in college and that age group. So is your team, how has it been growing your actual team? And what is the age demographic comprised of as well? Speaking of college kids, you have a bunch of young kids, old people, oldish people.
Yeah, it's a great question. So like if you would have asked me like the favorite part of Market Price or my favorite part of starting the company, it's the team that we've been able to build. And that's the only reason that we've been as successful as we are today. It's actually really cool. Today is the 1 year anniversary of our first employee starting. So I want to shout out Evan Haynos if he's listening. He's our marketing guy, so he's probably going to chop this up and repost it somewhere. But I want to shout out Evan because he joined us when we had no website. We didn't raise any money yet. He was fresh out of college, and he was actually a former intern of ours. And I was like talking to him about his next role, moving on from an internship. Mark Price, I'm like, dude, you are way too talented. Please stay here and please work for us. And now it's been a year, and we've grown from just Evan back 1 year ago to now we actually have our 11th employee starting tomorrow, and we have employees number 12 and 13 starting over the next 2 weeks, and potentially 14 too coming soon. So it's been cool. And what we try to do is find like what they are passionate about in terms of the employees. And another cool thing is like when we post jobs, it's less about the actual job, if that makes sense. Like we've had 4 people apply to different jobs than they now have because their passion was somewhere else, right? So if someone applied to work with companies, but they were really passionate about working with athletes, well, let's have them work with athletes because then they're going to be really good at it. They're going to be really excited about it and really crush it. So that's what my job has really come down to, putting really smart and talented people who are really passionate about what we do in a situation to succeed and help us, continue to grow.
That's cool. How do you play that game of going, okay, my business is growing. I need somebody here. I need somebody here handling X, Y, and Z. And then you got some really good people that come in, and maybe they applied for, we're going for one position, but then you kind of put them somewhere else. Like, how do you play that game? It seems like a little bit of a balance in terms of like placing people in certain positions, but then, assessing the needs. And how do you make those shifts and still like have people where you need them?
Yeah, that's such an awesome question. I think the one thing that helped us is I did all of these jobs. Like when we first started, like I was the athlete salesperson, I was the account manager, I was the brand salesperson, I was the brand account manager, I was the marketing manager, I was the college partnerships role. Like I did all of these jobs, and I always tell it to my like employees. I'm like, imagine like a cup of water, and you just like pour a cup of water, and then it starts overspilling because you're just like absolutely overwhelmed. Let's get another cup in there, and let's have someone take some of that load off of you and be able to help you do more of what like specialize. So for example, the person starting in 2 weeks is a brand account manager. So as soon as a company signs up, he's actually a former sports agent, and Jason Lay, to shout him out, he's a beast too. So he's giving brands an inside look into how agents think about these deals and helping brands craft and execute campaigns. I've done that job. Lauren, we worked together on that. So
you first emailed me even to get, I think I said, wait 3 months, right?
Exactly. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So to answer your question, like, it's just, I like to do the jobs because then I know what success looks like. Like
Right.
a month into the job, I know what they should be doing. It's a lot less throwing them in the deep end of being like, figure it out. And I have no idea what good or bad looks like. It's being on the same page with, here's what I've done. Here's what works for me. Now hiring someone to come in and do it full time and just crush it. Right. And be able to fully trust them right off the bat. And look, we're 8 for 8 right now in terms of hiring. My co-founder and I, we've been doing pretty well. It's 8 amazing, talented people, and they've been unbelievable, and it's been great. I just hope we keep batting 100% to go back to the sports puns and just keep hiring really talented people. So, yeah.
Well, I think what your role looks like to me is more of a coach, right? Like you've played the sport, you know the ins and outs of the rules, and also you're breaking some of the rules, which I think is a testament to why this model is working in the actual marketplace. And so as in your role as a coach, I mean, that has one thing that you need is to like pay for the jerseys and the sports equipment and, all of that, to take that metaphor a little, the extra mile.
Okay.
Scott rolled his eyes, listeners. Jason laughed hysterically. Well, you recently raised some seed money.
Yes.
I want you to share with us, how much did you raise? What was that like? I mean, really like bringing home a quite notable figure. Share that.
Yeah. My favorite part, Lauren, is every sports metaphor. You're like, you look over at Scott and you're like, did you hear that? And he's like, yeah, of course I heard.
Want his approval. I think it's just that. I want him to think I'm funny and nice.
It's all judgment on the sports puns from this side of the table.
Yeah. That's I'm just picturing when I was like raising. So we raised $3 billion. And I'm like, every time we drop like a mic drop stat, I just look to the investors like, you see that one? Yeah.
No.
I did not see that.
$3 million.
$3 million. Yeah. Well, we actually, funny enough, set out to raise $2 million initially. So we were trying to raise $2 million because we had planned out, great, like with $2 million, what we could do with that, how many people we could hire, what roles we can fill. And I was absolutely confident in, again, not to get too off track, because I promise I will answer. There's a thing called product market fit when your product fits the market, but there's another thing called founder market fit. And I think we have that, where I've been on the brand side. I was the first agent ever on Marketprice. So I know the needs of our users. Like, I have it down pat because I was them. I was in their shoes. So we have such a good feeling for where brands struggle, where athletes and agents struggle. So the next people we wanted to hire, to answer your question earlier, Scott, like, we know who those people need to be. We know what needs to get done. So with $2 million, here's who we could hire. And it would go all to hiring. And we met a group of investors, and they loved us. And they were like, great, yeah, $2 million is fine, but would you be open to taking $3 million from us? And, of course, they took a little bit bigger of a chunk of the company. But for us, what I was thinking was like, well, more money isn't always great, because then we give up more of something that we have. We only need $2 million. But NIL and college athletes, right? July 1st was the first time ever that college athletes could do this. So it is an absolutely brand new market where we don't know what's going to happen next. So wouldn't we want, if we see an opportunity in the market, wouldn't we want the ammo to go get it and to put people there? And we raised money a month ago. We already are going off track in a good way, where we started a business called Marketprice Florida, a subsidiary of Marketprice, to help unite different college communities. And we have someone who's starting November 15th to help run that. So that's something that, pitching, asking for $3 million is a lot. Seeing in your bank account is a whole nother thing. I couldn't believe it, but it's kind of a proud moment in the fact that great, people trust us, but it's also a kick in the butt of okay, this is real. Let's go do this, right? We're not a bootstrap startup anymore. People trust us, and, people are, depending on us. So it's that little extra, not that I need it because I'm working 24/7 anyway, but it's the extra kick in the butt of okay, let's go get this. Now we can go. There's no excuses. Nothing's holding us back. Let's go capture this market and really dominate. So
You're in the big leagues. Is that fair to say?
yeah. It's not.
No, I mean it.
It's not 30 million, but
everyone was thinking it. Everyone listening was.
Scott's about to leave, Lauren.
Makes sense.
This is great. Yeah.
But I mean, no, you are. It is remarkable, Jason. I was a fan of yours before even hit that level of success. That's probably why you like me. I'm not just a Fairweather fan. So
you are on fire today. I gotta say.
Well,
on fire right now.
I think you have a future in this, Lauren. I'm not even kidding. I love it.
This is our future. But we saw you. We saw you in the cover of Forbes. Forbes 1000. Next 1000. Is that, am I butchering that one?
No, that was it.
Yeah, it? Okay.
1000. So it's the next 1,000 entrepreneurs who are going to take over the world, I guess, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What was that like? Were your arms crossed in the picture? I can't remember. With that.
Yeah, they were. Yeah. So
Okay.
my wife was doing the photo shoot on our phone, and I'm like, okay, they asked us for a photo. We can't just have a random crappy cutout picture, the old Facebook photos. That's what I had. So I was wearing the shirt, and I'm like, okay, great, let's go outside. And she's like, these photos look bad. I'm like, no, we need to get something out there, right? So I did the CEO crossed arm look that, shows you're in business, right? You have to have one of those. But that was cool too. But things honestly, it's funny because it's when we submitted that, it said we raised $250,000, which we raised in November. When that came out, we had already raised $3 million. That's how fast things have been moving for us. And I feel like it's been great because we've been moving so fast. A year ago, I had another job. I was a full-time employee at Nielsen. And now we have 11, 12, 13 employees starting over the next couple of weeks. We've raised money. We've grown up to this point. We've done so much in the space. I'm just excited for what's next because I feel like we're still just getting started. So no, the Forbes Next 1000 was awesome. And again, it gives that extra validation. We have some cool athletes on the site. We have some cool brands on the site. But if someone's never heard of Marketprice, I don't blame them. We're this new. But if they see the CEO stamped to Forbes, cool. You know what Forbes is, right? Oh, cool. This company may be cool. Let me look into them and spend a couple extra seconds on their website. So all that validation does really help us.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. How? So you mentioned back in July, I think you said that things changed for the college athletes and what they're
Yes.
able to do. So can you talk a little bit more about that and then how that has affected market price?
Yeah. So on July 1st, and there's been, I'll do a long story short, I guess, but for hundreds of years, college athletes could not do marketing deals. They couldn't monetize their name, image, and likeness. So brands couldn't pay them money to promote their product. Brands couldn't send them free product. Athletes couldn't even, let's say you're a tennis player, you couldn't teach tennis courses to people who wanted to pay you for tennis classes, or else you would lose your eligibility and you may get kicked out of the school. Like that's how crazy it is, right? And but at the same time, a student could do tutoring and get paid to tutor, but a tennis player couldn't teach tennis classes. So the acronym NIL stands for name, image, and likeness. And again, student athletes and former student athletes and people in the sports world have been fighting for this much longer than we've been around at Market Price to allow college athletes to make money from their name, image, and likeness. Because again, to put like the cherry on top, and it's not even a cherry, like college sports makes billions of dollars every single year, and the student athletes see zero of it. Colleges make billions of dollars selling jerseys with athletes' names on the back. Student athletes make zero of it. So it's just really not fair that student athletes couldn't even get free meals, from like a local deli or free product, right? So July 1st, the NCAA passed a interim policy where any college athlete, D1, D2, D3, could make money from their name, image, and likeness. And that's something where Market Price is pretty set up to really help. So college athletes can then, and like I remember the first week like it was yesterday because it was just me as an employee. So I was reaching out to hundreds of student athletes over the weekend that kept signing up, and I kept trying to reach out to them and have calls. I didn't have enough time in the day, and I'm like, okay, great, we need more salespeople. Like we need someone. And it was a punch in the face because it literally happened June 30th. They made that decision the day before, and that was something that we weren't really ready for it in terms of like we had just me as a salesperson and account manager, but now we're ready to take on tens or hundreds of thousands of athletes, and we've really been helping these student athletes take advantage of this legislation, even if it's just talking to companies and building their network, because a lot of these student athletes are not going to go to the pros. They're not going to be making a living playing their sport that they are now. Right now in college is their maximum, just really like that's where most of the attention is on them. This is their max excitement from brands. So why not allow them to take advantage of it?
And like you alluded to earlier, I mean, they can learn even how businesses work and how they can build their own personal business. They have exposure to something that's bigger than them, that even could turn into an internship and a job or some interest in a different career. I mean, I think the connectivity that the Market Price offers an athlete, especially a student athlete, is pretty awesome in that. Like you don't have to be locked into anybody. There's a simple, easy way to connect to multiple different brands. And of course, the brands love it. I mean, the more the merrier athletes choose from and work with. And so you mentioned the part of the seed money, kind of that extra bump that the investors wanted to give you, that you went and launched Market Price Florida. I'd love for you to share more about it specifically, which I believe is your alma mater in Gainesville, correct?
Go Gators.
Yes. Yeah, the Gators. Okay. I used to have a Florida Gators hat. I think it was one of my first ball caps that I wore. It was blue and had like a nice stitched insignia like of the Gator. I just like the Gator. I don't know. So share more about like what's happening in Gainesville, Florida now, and how Market Price is doing yet another new phenomenal thing that is going to really change not just how brands and athletes win, but now there's another, it truly is a win-win-win where now alumni and fans get to be part of the deal.
Yeah, it's actually, well, one, love the enthusiasm, Lauren. You're a rock star and you know how to get me so excited about doing it. I also love the subtle shout out to the Gators and love
reciprocal.
It's amazing. So I was like, should I say it now or should I say it at the end? I'm like, no, I can't. You can't keep giving us love and then me not thanking you for it. So thank you. It came out of a need. So I am a former Gator, and our investors are actually former Gators as well, most of them. So it's Gator founded, Gator funded, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's cute. I like that.
Yeah, right. And
that should be on the website, by the way, on which we can give a shout out at the end as well. But
yes,
it is NIL, which we know is name, image, and likeness marketprice with a y.com.
Yes.
In case you want to check it out while you're listening. So
I appreciate it. Thank you for the plug. I didn't even have to plug myself. So Gator founded, Gator funded, but the biggest thing is, like I said earlier in the episode, like we are obsessed with solving our customers' problems. We could do a lot of different things, but you need to focus on the problem, right? Like what are people struggling with? Because if no one's struggling from it, you build a solution for it, no one's going to use it, right? And I've seen that firsthand. So what we were able to see, and our investors are pretty close with the UF athletic department, and we heard that, it's really hard to recruit now because coaches now, instead of saying, hey, come to UF because we're in Florida, there's no state tax and it's great and we have this history, it's like these kids are like, how can I make money? How can I monetize my NIL? What opportunities can you give to me? So the athletic department, because of that policy that was passed July 1st, they can't cause compensation to go to athletes. They can't help them get paid. They can educate them and maybe point them in the right direction, but they can't facilitate deals. And it's a really tricky, gray area, and it's tough for athletic departments. So what we found was a problem is not just UF, but I've been speaking with a ton of different athletic departments. They're like, we need something to point to. So when a college recruit says, why should I choose UF? They could say, you can be part of this program and make money. Here's a program that you can do that we're not associated with, but we know of and we can help. And that's something that we wanted to make up Market Price Florida, where we got that problem. And I was like, okay, how do we put a solution to this? What does that look like? So out of thin air, my team and I thought of a good way. And actually, I want to shout out Ashley Kummer as well. So she's an account manager on Market Price. She's also a former Gator. She's our chief Gator officer. She actually came up with most of the idea. So I want to give her absolutely credit for it. But it's a win-win-win-win, actually. And it's a way for alumni to donate money to Market Price Florida. So for alumni, they want to get money into student athletes' hands, but they can't just pay the student athletes. That's illegal. So they pay Market Price Florida. And what we do is we go out to local businesses, so local coffee shops, local delis, local restaurants, local hair salons, and for free, they could sign up to a bi-weekly raffle. So once every other week, we choose one local business to win a raffle. And again, it's free to sign up. When you win, you get promoted by UF student athletes. And again, it's free promotion on social media. They get tagged on Instagram and Twitter, and they're able to get that promotion for free, right? So it's a free lottery ticket. For student athletes, same thing, free to sign up. And once every 2 weeks, we send them an email saying, hey, here's the winner of this raffle. Here's what you have to do. Here's how much money you can get paid. Yes or no? Do you want to promote it? So athletes passively can see not only opportunities, but like local opportunities to where they live of local cool companies where you guys have said how important a network is. I could not agree more. For these local athletes, they have the most say and the most notoriety in their local communities. So how can they monetize that? How can they connect with those local businesses through Market Price Florida? And it's a win-win-win. The fourth win is for the athletic department. So now in recruiting battles, coaches can say, hey, yeah, Market Price Florida, they've paid out thousands of dollars to athletes. So if you come here, you could participate in that for free. So we give them an offer. So it's really a no loss for anybody. And again, it's like this came about a month ago, and it's already, again, shout out our tech team for building a fully functioning website that looks awesome too. So it's just really, that's the team, right? Getting really smart people in a room and figuring that out. So it's been a lot of fun.
Scott, seriously,
Wow.
did you get goosebumps?
Yeah.
I got goosebumps when you were telling me that. Did
Thanks,
you
Lauren.
really?
Yeah,
I
I mean,
saw you kind of hurt.
I was kind of, yeah.
It like almost, and then I feel a little like weepy. It's so freaking beautiful.
Yeah, just that whole connection, figuring out a way to make that work and have like that outlet for the alumni to help the student athletes and stuff like that, and working around the system and getting it to connect that's so cool.
And it's going to change the institutionalism of colleges. I mean, already the NIL has shaken that up. You can't stop an student athlete from making money, but you can't give it. So now it's a redistribution of power, which I'm a fan of. And I think that's just so cool. And watch out every other university, because I guess just like Gatorade, Florida's now brought us another game changer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nobody noticed that was another
game changer. That's
you got it. Yeah.
Is that are you looking to bring this to other college towns, other schools, things like that? Or is this kind of like the beta test?
Exactly. Yeah. So we don't want to expand too quickly just because we want to dominate this market and then expand. We want to start a little bit more in the niche market where, I mean, Florida, like University of Florida raised what, $45 million last year from donors. So it's a big enough market for us to start in. And it's so new that we're already learning. We're like, for example, just yesterday we launched like a raffle to get alumni to want to donate. So instead of just donating to get money into the hands of athletes, for every $50 they donate, they can get a chance to win. It's a Kyle Pitts signed helmet. So he was the 4th overall pick last year in the draft. He's a former Gator, and he is unbelievable. So he's like a former Gator great, where any Florida fan knows who Kyle Pitts is. But if you donate, you could have a chance to win a signed helmet. That was a test that we thought of yesterday that we executed yesterday. So
Cool.
we're trying to learn, and we don't want to expand too fast because we want to iterate and just be able to nail it before we expand to other people. Maybe like University of Minnesota. Who knows? That could be school number 2.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, or I'm wearing few other like universities
Pepperdine.
that I might have dropped in on as well. We do have a right to Scott's right. We have some signed paraphernalia that
Whoa.
Oxygen Plus has acquired over the years. Sid, do you want to hold up the baseball? So we have a bunch of people who have signed this baseball. We don't know who.
No idea.
Oxygen Plus has
No
been around for
idea.
a while, but it's probably a baseball team in Minnesota. That might be a thing. We could look that up.
Could be.
We'd be happy to raffle this off anytime,
Yeah.
Jason.
Okay.
And
Signed
then
baseball by random people. Yeah, that'll
By random, totally
No, but
random,
famous-
unknown people.
famous random people. I'm sure there's like some sort of.
Can you
I probably
read any
shouldn't keep
off?
holding it. Oh, this looks like an old warehouse person. It looks like
It
this is
could
the
be.
Oxygen Plus team. So going once, going twice, $100 on market price.
Yeah.
Oxygen
see it.
Plus alumni signing this.
Yeah,
baseball.
this is I think I'm gonna sign next. Looks like there was a Derek and a Cody. You're definitely not. But what's this one, Scott?
This is an Oxygen Plus T-shirt signed by
Sydney Rice.
Sydney Rice.
Whoa. Wait.
Could
The
that-
Viking? Sydney
Yeah,
Rice?
the former Viking, and then
that's
he
so
went to
cool.
play for the Washington team. What are they called?
Yeah, Washington football team and the
Yeah,
Seahawks.
The Washington-
Seahawks. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, we could probably raffle that off. I mean, so it's funny.
That's
We used to go after these big name players, and like you said, they already have some deals. They already have all that access, and but what I love is the heart of the college, right? Like the people in college, like
Mhm.
there's nothing like going to a college game versus a pro game. It's a very different experience.
Yeah.
So
And-
I love
and-
that you
yeah.
brought that to literally everybody in one way or another. Market price can make sports better.
Exactly. Yeah, and help the kids really take advantage of their notoriety. That's something that's really important too. So if they make a big play, if they have a big community, if they have a big following on social media, monetize it, right? And take advantage of it, which they couldn't do before. So it's been a
Yeah.
lot of fun.
Well, Jason, I see you as both like being humble, but also a hot shot. I mean, what you found a way to help young athletes and companies like level this playing field. Do you have anything like personally? How does that really move you?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. I believe everyone is the hero in their own story. It's one of my favorite quotes from Reid Hoffman. He's like the founder of LinkedIn. And it's something for me thinking internally, and then I'll get to externally. Like, I just think it's awesome. Like, I've been working 24/7 on market price since over a year ago, right? And it's something that I love and I could see myself doing for the next years. Partly because we're genuinely helping a lot of people out there. Like, when I read testimonials from brands and athletes and agents who are like, I'm obsessed with market price and I love what I'm doing and I'm having so much fun using it and it's really helping me out. Like, those are the coolest things. Like, we had a professional soccer player and he's in like the USL, which is not a really big popular league. And he's like, you were literally changing the game for us. And I read that and I get chills. And I'm like, this is awesome. Like, this is just really cool. Like, we're genuinely helping people do really, really, really cool things. And it's a bonus that it's something that I'm passionate about. And I think that gives us an edge up of like, it's a problem that, look, I've been an agent. I've never been an athlete that's struggling to know when my next paycheck is coming in, and being able to be a college athlete. I've never been in those shoes, but I've spoke with enough where I'm able to be like, great, well, here's how we can help you, and here's how we could be a real resource for something that I'm really passionate about. And again, going back to the team, like being able to build a team that is equally as passionate, they're 110% bought into the mission. Like that's the coolest thing, because I get like, we had a team meeting. We have every Friday we talk about the biggest win of the week and the biggest loss of the week. So everyone's comfortable sharing a big loss, right? Like you're allowed to try
Yeah.
things and mess up.
I love
Like you
it.
should.
Yeah.
If you're not losing, then we're not growing, right? You have to.
Right.
You have
You're not playing, right? If you don't
Yeah.
lose or win.
Yeah.
no one bats
Yeah.
100%, right? So we want to. I got you, Lauren.
You got it. Yeah. and You're not going to knock
Yeah.
it out of the ballpark if you're not
Ex-
swinging.
Exactly. And we had one of our first sales guys, and he's like, I know I sound like Jason, but like I'm having so much fun doing this. I'm like, I had such a good
That's so
week like doing this.
awesome.
I'm like, that's exactly, like I had the biggest smile. I thought my face was gonna fall off because I was smiling so
Aw.
big. So it's
You
just
are
really
a
cool.
true coach and
Exactly.
a gentleman. I just thought that sounded good.
Thanks, Lauren.
We can edit that part out later.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Oh, leave that in. Leave that in. I love that. Thank you.
What's your ultimate vision for stop throwing things around?
Sorry.
He's over here trying to play catch.
Take the
Nice.
ball.
Yeah.
What's
ultimate-
your I'll re-ask the question just so so we can start
Because you
over.
messed up.
Because I messed up,
right,
yeah. What's your ultimate vision for Market Price? Where do you see it?
Yeah, so it's a question that is like an interesting one. I will answer it, I promise. But we don't think more than, I purposely like don't plan out features more than like 3 to 6 months at the most in advance, because if we're focusing on like 3 or 5 years down the road, we're not going to be in business in 3 to 5 months because we're not listening to our customers today. So that's something I really am passionate about. Like Market Price Florida, if we planned out 12 months in advance what we're going to be, we wouldn't have done that because we wouldn't have had the resources. We wouldn't have planned for it. So I think staying close to the ground, especially in such a new market, gives us the competitive advantage because we're so mobile, we're so agile, and we could shift. With that being said, I see this as a lot bigger than just athletes. So I'm super bullish on the creator economy in general, meaning even like the iOS update, right, for Apple, the privacy purposes, like brands are spending a lot less money on Facebook, on traditional digital ads. Digital media spend was like $53 billion last year, I want to say. Influencer marketing was like $2 billion. I think those are going to start to even out, where companies are going to be able to look elsewhere and start investing in athletes, but also just traditional creators and influencers. So Market Price was actually supposed to be initially Sportfluence. I actually thought it was really cool as a name. And then I'm like,
Yeah.
it's actually kind of corny. And I knew if we were Sportfluence, we couldn't expand outside of sports. So we needed a company name that was, just not specific to sports. But we see sports as like the foot in the door. Like, let's make a name for ourselves. And then let's be able to be a place where anybody can find endorsement deals and anybody can build their network and anybody can be able to, whether it's getting paid to do a post, getting free product, doing an equity deal, starting a business. I see it less as a dating app in the long term and more of like a LinkedIn where people can have profiles and actually connect, for endorsement deals. So I'm super bullish on Market Price too. I think we have the team for that. So it's just being able to, continue rolling along and growing at a crazy pace. But hope that helped answer your question.
It's great. It's great foresight. I mean, because why are we all boxed in? We talk about this a lot, like at our company. What's the line from sport to shopping to getting your car changed? I mean, all of it is really about living life.
Mhm.
And so why would we limit ourselves by just being pigeonholed in like one sort of category? So all the power to you on that. I think more and more wellness needs to be a part of our life in general in the US and of course across the world. Speaking of wellness, Jason, you've been working, you said 24/7 for about over a year. How do you take care of your own health? How are you staying healthy so you don't get all burned out and angry?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So I make sure our team, I don't know if that's the right, I don't even know the right word for it. I don't get angry because I'm not really an angry person. But if our
No, that
team,
was obviously I didn't mean that you
yeah,
would ever, but you might get burned out if you're not sleeping or eating or doing things for yourself that are healthy, like exercise.
exactly. So, well, exercise, that could be a different story. I need to do that more. But sleeping, I try to get 8 hours of sleep. I for our team, right? Like that's something where I make sure the team isn't working after like 5:30. So like if they send me a Slack message or an email or something, like I'm just not answering it. I would never email them after 5:30. And if someone's working, where like we had a sales guy and he had a call like at night, like 7 o'clock, and I'm like, Peter, what are you doing, dude? And he's like, I love it. I just want to talk to them. I'm like, no, like you're going to burn out. I think being a founder of a business is a little bit different, where I make sure my team isn't, and I know it's not really leading by example. And I've come to kind of accept it, where like I want my team making sure that we know it's a marathon, not a sprint. I know I can do this forever because I've been doing it for a while, and there really are no signs of burnout, like in the slightest. If anything, it gets me more excited doing new things like Market Price Florida, and even things like working on the weekends. During the week, Monday to Friday, I don't really have any time to do much. Right, I'm managing the team and I'm doing patching holes. Right, like a boat with holes in it. I'm trying to patch. So the weekends are more, instead of working in the business, working on the business, and allow me to think a little bit more and have a little bit more time to think as an executive versus as an employee. So I think it gives us a competitive advantage. But one thing I've had to learn is like being selfish with time. And there's not enough time in the day. That's the most scarce resource for any founder. So just being aggressive with like, where is the best leverage use of my time? Where can I help Market Price move the fastest? Right now it's hiring and managing, but that probably changes on a daily basis. So yeah, again, I don't know if I answered your question, but I hope it gave you some insight. Like I'm good. I'm even better than when I started. But I make sure that my team, at least, like I know they're bought into it. Like that's the most important thing.
That's good. But you eat well. I mean, you're eating healthy, right? You take vitamins or something like that.
Yeah. Well, that's thanks to my wife. She's amazing. And we can't have a podcast without shouting her out. I got so lucky that she is like the best cook in the world. And yeah, it's amazing. So I'm eating healthy. I appreciate you guys asking though.
It takes a team. Well, we care about you, man.
Yeah.
Right. Scott was worried. I sensed him fretting.
I was very concerned. No, no, not at all.
Well, we're big on wellness. We always have tips and we always like talking about them. So if you ever have anything you want to know about, we are I think well connected in some hacks and stuff. So really reach out.
Thanks, Lauren.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Jason, let's maybe point out, if you could, places that people maybe can follow you, websites, how they can just see what Market Price is up to and what they're doing.
Yeah. So following up on Lauren's plug earlier, our main website, marketprice.com, is, if you're watching the YouTube video, it's just spelled on my shirt, but it's Market Price, PRYCE, because we're a startup. We have to have a Y. It's got to be something funky to it. That's where you can learn more. To find me, find me on LinkedIn, Jason Bergman, or it's at Bergman Tweets on Twitter. And yeah, reach out, go on our website and learn a little bit more. But if you have any questions, I mean, my email too is just jason@marketprice.com. So any questions or want to connect, feel free to reach out. I'd love to.
And then also Market Price Florida, nil.marketprice.com. Just to make sure you got that. Okay.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks, Lauren.
Yeah, no, thank you. I mean, I think everyone is going to be inspired by this and hopefully listen to it again, share it with their friends. I think this is just like in a world where like there's a lot of big startup money with like in Silicon Valley and other things. It just is like a breath of fresh air, really, to have this sort of innovation happen with manageable like team growth size and funding. It just seems like it's kind of the way that startups should be.
Yeah. I think even if you're somebody that isn't a sports fan necessarily, just the fact that it's something that makes those connections, for young athletes, trying to, start their career or further their careers and just that function of the company, I think is really cool. And anybody that, is interested in business or has their own startup or an entrepreneur or an aspiring entrepreneur, I think it's pretty cool and inspiring, just the story of putting it together.
Thank you. Yeah.
Kids are going to want to be like you.
Yeah.
I hope so. And you guys too. You guys started an awesome company also. So take some time to pat yourselves on the back. But No, it's been really cool. And yeah, again, if anyone's listening to that has any questions on even starting your own company, even if it's outside sports, I'm more than happy to help. So reach out. I make sure to get back to everybody who reaches out to me. And when you raise money, it's actually a lot of people who reach back out, but I try to make sure to hit everyone back and help wherever I can.
Awesome. Well, Jason, thank you so much. We really do appreciate your time and such an awesome story. We wish you all the best in the future. Can't wait to see what happens in the next 3 to 6 months.
Yes, same here. But thank you guys so much. Let's do it again.
Go rate and review. We're not blowing hot air, so more people are aware of wellness and business stuff that deserves more oxygen. And subscribe to our podcast so you never miss an exciting episode.
Thanks for listening. But before we go, check out this episode's featured artist, Grammy Award winner, and multi-platinum selling music producer, Michael Blue, with his song, Bring It On England.
We are strong, we are mashing, walking out, standing tall, we are your team. Heads are high, we know why, as we all sing. Now we roar, as we score, bring it home again. It's our time, we will be alright. It's our time, England's dream, alright. Top, we smash with a big deal. We are smooth, we are fast, we will stay real. For our might, or we fall, we will stand firm. We are one, bring it on for the whole world. It's our time, we will be alright. It's our time, England's dream, alright. We are strong, we are mashing, walking out, standing tall, we are your team. Live the dream, bring it home, be the story. Live it up, win the cup, England's glory. It's our time, we will be alright. It's our time,